Hi, welcome to Similar But Different, the podcast. Let's do that again. Okay. But I'm getting all the benefits.
Without having to pay.
Right.
Yeah, they screwed me. And then I found a bunch of friends that I was different from. I think I'd like the gram more if I got hit up in my DMs.
Okay, this should probably end. Hi, welcome to Similar But Different. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Jen.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, Rach. And hello, Janell.
Whoop.
Welcome, Janell, everyone. This is my BFF. We had to go back and figure out the year. We've known each other since 2003.
2003.
High school ballers.
Just can't hide that Lance of Pride.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
Come
You pulled
on.
that out. I
And
like that.
Actual ballers.
Yeah,
They
actually played
basketball.
In
Yeah.
real life. IRL. Isn't that what
Yeah.
the kids say?
Yes.
Yeah. And Janelle, I feel like, is more of a baller because she went on to play basketball.
Don't say it. I actually don't say their name
Okay.
in public.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, because we have negative feelings towards them?
Oh,
Correct.
Oh,
spicy.
okay.
Yeah.
But she went to a higher division than me, a better division.
You played in a strong conference, like D3
Yeah.
conference, right? So I would say I played in the comparable, like, for D2, right? Like, top
Yeah.
level Division 2 school.
So for some background, you both played together in high school, and then you both played in college.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah. And then we played post college in a co ed league for a little bit.
Oh,
We
yeah,
dabbled.
We ran the league, and we ran the league.
Yeah, we
That
did.
was fun.
Yeah.
We did.
It was
That's some years ago, though.
Yeah.
Now, it's probably like 2016, 2017.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say maybe even like 2014.
It
But
would have
maybe-
been there because I wasn't. I had
weren't back in Richmond?
out. Yeah, I was
Okay.
still
Then, yeah.
coaching.
Well, you're better at that
and
then.
But
2016.
and then you didn't play with us last like couple years ago when we played.
I bailed.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
The body just can't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
Too many years. But yeah, this is exciting for me because Rachel, as much as I love you, that is one of our differences is sports. So I have Janelle here to talk my favorite holiday, March Madness. We told you guys we were going to do an episode on it, and I was like, we got to dive deep
For
into
sure.
all things b-ball, sports, the hype around March Madness. We're just gonna go there.
She has been talking about you coming on for March Madness. I'm going to say since like middle of last year.
Yeah.
So we've been talking for a while because like I remembered that y'all had a podcast or whatever. But like I go through phases, right? So I like go through like audiobook phases
Sure,
and
yeah.
podcast phases and music
Mhm.
phases. But I'm also the type of podcast consumer that I like to watch the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it kind of like confines me to like when I could, you
Yeah.
know, turn it on or whatever. So I had like turned it on, but I'm like, I want to see what they're doing, how they're
Yeah.
interacting. Like I love it. It's kind of like a behind the scenes, like while you're watching it, right? So
Yeah.
I was like doing a deep clean one night. And I was like, you know, I was tired of listening to music, like wasn't really into like audiobooks right then. So I was like, I'm putting Similar But Different on.
Yeah.
And I just turned it up like real loud on my you know, and I was going in and out of my living room. And I like we
Send
have
a
a
pic.
yeah, we have a group chat
I
like
love
like
that.
our little core friends from back in high
Yeah.
school. And I was like, yo, this is dope. I'm with it. Like get me on. So yeah.
Yeah, we've been
so-
talking since then. I was like, dude, are you kidding? I want you on
Yep.
ASAP.
Yeah. So here we
Yeah,
are.
here it is.
So before we get into the b-ball,
Yeah.
yeah, I know the terms. No one calls it that, I'm aware.
It's fine.
I would love to know, since you were close with Jen in middle school, high school, if there's any fun tidbits that you have to share.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's one I can give off the top of my head.
Oh,
First of all, I
okay.
think we first have to start here though. She wasn't Jen.
Yeah, no, I was
Like-
never Jen.
No.
No.
This is Jen didn't live back then. Back then, she was OB.
Oh,
Her last name is
Oh,
O'Brien.
O'Brien. I
Yeah,
was like,
so, like, she
original
started-
baller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See? Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
We'll catch up. But it was OBZ because like back then, you know, whatever. But then and she was just like OB, like
Yeah.
that was like her hoop name. So OB had one of the craziest Jordan collections in high school. Like, I mean, went toe to toe with anybody in the school, and also probably had like the best system in her car.
yeah.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
talking like what 212s, Dyno Mat, like
Yeah,
Wolfers. She had the
everything.
car.
What?
Well, because
What
she
were
was
you
OB,
listening to?
you have to
I was a different
understand.
person.
She wasn't Jen. She was OB.
This is
So
legit.
back then, it was not like why she got that? It was like, yo, that's what she is.
Yeah.
Hey,
Like you would
Like,
question it now, but back then,
wild.
no, dancer,
oh yeah. If the TikTok
crazy
was a thing
dancer.
back then,
We would have killed it.
it wouldn't have been
We would have killed it. Like,
rich and famous.
So what you're saying, we need to bring some of OB
Yeah.
back to SBD.
I mean, Oak's already coming back with the shoe game a little bit. Like I've been.
You are, yes.
there are signs. I know that's like a thing right now, right? There will be signs. Like seriously, there are like every time because that's like one of the things that we have in common or whatever.
Mhm.
So we always like peep each other's shoes when we see each other.
Yeah.
That's kind of like our little nod. Like yeah.
Yep.
We
Okay,
feel
I
like
need
that.
to
Okay.
get you into TikTok or something. So you want to do these little dances?
I have one better,
Ooh.
and this is going to be a plug for one of my a
Plug it.
shameless plug for one of my favorite places in Richmond. Richmond Urban Dance. It's a hip hop dance studio. She came with me. What?
Gosh, it was
was
last
over-
year, right?
yeah,
No.
almost 2 years
Yeah,
now.
that's-
Almost 2 years ago, we went and took a class. So you too should come with me
Okay,
on
I
Wednesday.
actually
So
I'm
fun.
very into the idea of this because it will be fun, but also accepting I am not OB and I have no OB
you don't have
in
to
me.
be. This is like literally one of the most inclusive
And Lindsay.
places that you could ever be. Like
Oh yeah, they're
it
so.
generally is one. It might be my favorite place in Richmond, just because like anybody can walk in, any age. I'm talking, special needs.
Anything.
60,
Okay,
they
I love
like
that because I can't pop or
yeah.
lock.
Hey,
Well,
but
and-
they have a beginner, intermediate. We can do beginner and
Yeah.
be real fun. It's a great workout.
I
It
go
But,
in,
like
is.
I'm in like once or twice a month now because this
Ooh.
is the year of physical fitness because I'm wildly out of shape. So
we all
I
are.
have to make it fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Working out fun. So yeah. Come with us and then you'll get to
Okay.
meet OP.
I used to do Zumba with a friend of mine who was like a pseudo professional
Yeah.
dancer, and I was like feeling myself doing my Zumba,
Uh-huh.
and she looked over and was like, "Rachel,
No.
you're right. Yeah.
I mean,
So that's how it's gonna be.
it was so much fun. We went with Lindsay and Melanie,
Yeah,
and neither one of them can dance.
and they need to come
it's a
too. I like
honest
that.
observation.
But we had the best
We
time. I
did.
think they still had fun.
No, for sure. It's fun. And then we actually performed the dance at our 5th best friend's wedding.
Yeah.
2 months later.
We I remembered most of the choreography.
Now,
you
also
remembered
listen here. By the time we performed this dance, first of all, it had been like a month and a half since we learned it.
Yeah.
And then it had been like a day and a half of drinking. So like,
I was gonna say
I
straight
mean,
drinking.
there is footage.
I'm
We
gonna
could-
want
And
to.
we
could find
tried
that.
really hard.
Yeah, I'm gonna need.
And then
that
they made
sent
us
to
do
me.
it twice.
Yeah, we did.
It was like, play it again. B-Bo's not in here. She didn't get to see it. We were like, again.
It's like I barely remember that
Yeah,
time.
so- But yeah, so anyway, complete tangent. But yes, come with us. You'll get to meet OB and you'll get to meet the friend that I met
Yeah, I have
22 years ago.
Jen who's like, okay, well, don't arrive before 5:30 because we'll still be eating dinner.
Oh my god.
She's always been type A. Don't
Yeah.
like that part.
That has
is
not
I'm
there.
just like,
She just would have been in like a pair of Jordans when she said it.
yeah, literally. I was here this weekend. We had some friends who were
Yep.
helping us with some pod stuff, and we went out to lunch after. And we're like, "Do you want to come?" And she goes, "Honestly, no. I've been social for about 2 hours now, and I have to be social 2 hours tonight." So
I needed the
I
break.
did.
we all appreciated the
Yeah,
honesty.
for
We
sure.
were like, "That's real."
For sure. I also think that's one thing that we appreciate about each other too. Like, I love spending time with my friends and with anyone that I love, but I also really like spending time by myself.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
like I am like passionate about alone time.
Homebodies.
Yeah, like big homebody, but love to get out. Also, why I wanted to come here. You know what I mean? This would be great. Like, a little social time.
Yeah. I do give Jen a hard time, but I don't like doing stuff during the week. So especially when it's like dark in winter and I have to come over here and it's midnight
Yeah.
outside, I'm like,
Mhm.
ugh.
It's up to you. You do this for all of us. Us being me, the viewer.
Right. Jen's honestly, yeah,
I
the
just-
podcast would crumble if Jen had to go somewhere.
Just give you the keys.
Yeah.
Come on in, figure it out.
That's funny.
No, we are both mutually valuable to this.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So we're mad about March.
Mad
Mad-
about March.
That about March.
Mad
Do
about
people not
March.
say that?
They
I don't
should.
know.
They should. I like it.
Yeah,
I like
me
that.
too.
I love putting a little twist on something.
I'm making it
traditional.
my own.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
for
yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah.
I'm excited. I was telling Rachel earlier, I guess a couple episodes ago, that this is the first year that I have my own table where my own
Oh, yeah,
friends are coming
yeah.
and not just Nathan's friends.
Yeah.
And I'm like so hype because like I feel like every year there's always something like because not everyone wants to take off work.
Right.
And this year just happens to be kind of
explain what you do for the citizens.
Yeah, so it's a holiday. It is a Jen O'Brien, Jen Fox.
Holiday.
Wow, just went right back to O'Brien. Sorry, Nathan, just unmarried you for a second.
You're going back to OB.
Yeah, it's like I'm losing myself here.
I have that effect on.
So every year for the past, this was before COVID, so I would say maybe 10, maybe even, at least the past 10 years. We've taken off work Thursday, Friday for the start of the tournament, and we typically go to like, it might be home team. Recently, Wooden Irons popped up and we've gone there, but always go to a bar at 11:30 a.m. the second they open. Games don't start till noon. We're there at 11:30 a.m. and we are there pretty much until we're like, we need to go home. Yeah. We're doing too much. And every year I gamble for the first time. Every year
you gamble for the first time?
That's the only time and the first time in the year that I'm ever going to gamble.
Okay. You gamble for the first time and only time that year.
Yes.
Right. Gotcha.
Okay. It is.
You phrased that in a very strange way.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. Every year, first time every year. That was bad. But yeah, so any balance that I have, it's lasted from 10 years ago. And let's just say I've yet to win.
Gambling right there.
Yet to win big though. We're talking.
It doesn't seem like you're playing to win big.
Yeah, we're not. We're not.
Not that I'm not a gambler, but I know some gamblers, and it's never their first time in March.
Oh yeah, you're right about that. When you'll meet Craig, one of Nathan's friends, and he can gamble. He's good at it, and we usually are always like, "What do we do? Over, under, here, there." And that's also what gets us into the women's games. I can get the guys into the women's games. Exactly. Is when you gamble on it, you're more interested in it regardless of the score.
100%. You're invested in it. It's literally an investment.
That is how I get invested.
Yeah. So that's also the exciting part because I feel like the more we get gambling in on, I guess, women's sports too, maybe the more we'll get some of those guys.
I'll play $1 pot. That's about all I got.
What I'm hearing is I need to get into gambling.
Yes.
That was your takeaway?
I will get in. And I am not I'm not one of those sports ball. I actually find those people annoying when they love them. Like, it's sports and people like sports and get out of here.
Right.
Yeah.
And played sports in high school and stuff, but just don't have a team that I care about and I don't choose to watch it. But if I have a reason to root for a team, I will get into it.
Honestly, that's kind of how I got back into the thrill of basketball in general. COVID, I feel like kind of, which probably for most people, right? I just kind of stopped watching anything.
Everything.
NBA, WNBA, college basketball, wasn't really into it. And 2 years ago, after PJ went back for the summer, I was just bored, and so I got season tickets to the Mystics games.
Fun.
And I was just I need something to do this summer. You know what I mean? Go up to DC, watch some games, whatever. And because of that, I got reinvested into the WNBA. And so now this will be my 3rd year going into being a season ticket holder, but it's driven me to be obsessed with sports again.
Yeah.
In general, I wake up, ESPN is the first thing to check again, and I'm like, oh, she bad.
Feeling though.
Have
a passion, re-energized.
Sure. Exactly. And I think it was also good and when you take a break, because when you play for as long as we did, and I coached for 4 years after I played. And then I came back and I was still doing training and development and stuff like that.
Right.
And everything post basketball, none of it was really for me. I was a basketball player. I'm a hooper. You know what I mean? Coaching, man. I love the relationship building with the girls or whatever, and being able to get perspective. But I needed that little break. But also I am back in my bag.
Yeah. What a good time to be back.
Seriously.
I remember when you said you got the season tickets. I've also gotten into soccer side of things too, and Washington Spirit. And I was like, dude, I wish they did joint season tickets for Mystics and Spirit. Exactly. I don't even know if it's whatever, but it was that would have been so hyped because then I'm gonna be able to come up for at least half of each of those games.
Yeah. Or even just timing them up right, because me and Biggs have talked about that, and BMO obviously, her being up there or whatever, trying to catch maybe 2 of the games on the same weekend or something like that. It's obviously a big energy in DC just because they have all of the professional sports or whatever.
Yeah, it's nice.
The Mystics environment. You haven't been to a game yet?
I have not been to a game yet. We've talked about it, but I have not been to a game.
I gotta I actually have courtside seats this
Oh,
year.
you
Yeah.
fancy.
No, I wouldn't call it fancy. I told you, I'm invested.
Okay.
No.
She's invested.
We're actually gonna speed by that. But so I gotta figure out, how to get everybody down for a game because I'm in it.
Yeah.
I went to meet. I got invited to like the introduction of the head coach and GM conference, like press conference or whatever. And then it was only like maybe 10 of us invited, and some people had to leave early, so they were like, "Hey, will you do an interview?" I'm like, "If you read me the questions first."
Yeah,
Like,
I knew what you were gonna ask
and
me.
so like they were like, "How long you been a Mystics fans?" I was like, 3 years. They were like, I said, "Well, I grew up in Indianapolis, so I actually grew up a Fever fan."
Yep.
Which also could, be a little tangent. Which
Yeah.
I'm not a Fever fan right now. And mostly because I pay for tickets at the Washington Mystics, and so therefore I'm a Mystics fan.
You're
But I
invested.
actually really enjoy the environment and like the team, and it's just a really dope experience up there.
Yeah. Which I feel like this is new for I mean, so if you've been there 3 years, the first year 3 years ago, I think it was still probably early days, not yet where it is
100%.
today.
100%.
And I'm sure you've been able to see it. How
Exactly.
drastic is it?
It's it actually is drastic, and it was crazy because it only took 1 year, and
1
that
year
year kind of was like March Madness last year. The year was really like 6 weeks.
It was.
You know what I mean? Like in terms of it hitting the tipping point.
Oh yeah.
Because I think there's been buzz, right? Like there is respect that like women's basketball is better. Like women's basketball players are more skilled now, right? Like
I love
that respect exists,
Yeah.
I want to say this: it has always existed with men who play basketball, right? Like they've always respected the women's game.
Yeah.
It's the men who just sit on social media that are horrible at basketball,
Right.
or that have
Talk
never
shit.
played basketball,
have lots of opinions.
but have lots of opinions, which they also typically be the people that have opinions about everything.
Yeah.
But so the first year I went there, and I obviously drive to the games because I live in Richmond. You get off on the exit, and it's called like Martin Luther King or like Malcolm X, like
One of
way,
those.
right?
Yeah.
And so you get off and you drive right up to the stoplight. It might be 5, 10 cars in front of you. You turn left, you turn right. You're at the stadium. You can go to the parking garage. You can park wherever you want. Afterwards, you go to your car. You drive right out. It was still a good environment.
Yeah. But like,
When you showed up last year, you couldn't get off the exit.
so all the way back to the
It took
interstate.
30 minutes to get from the exit to the parking lot. The year before, it
Jeez.
took me 7.
Wow.
So like
That's insane.
exactly. So talking about buzz and like tipping point
Right.
and things spilling over, like it was very evident last year, to the point this year, like I'm just gonna take the metro.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it. Even like when I'm at Key's house, when we leave from her house and go, like
Yeah.
if the game starts at 7, even if we left at 5:30, we'd still be pulling up at like 6:45.
I love the idea of measuring the success of women's basketball by how long it takes
How long
you
it
from
takes
the
just to
exit
get
to the
in,
stadium.
just to get in.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, that's
Seriously. So
That's-
yeah,
that's
it's
awesome.
it's been dope to see, and then I know this is actually an Unrivaled shirt, and then it spills into that, and just how the players have been able to take control of their own narrative, especially
Yes.
like for women's basketball,
that is so
and
valid.
build something for themselves. Like
So
it's
I
been
don't
dope.
know what your shirt is.
Yeah. So, well,
We can talk that tag team it. Just
yeah. Okay. So here's what's really cool. Like what Janell's saying, like they were kind of like setting the future for themselves. So like Unrivaled is a
And
league
who's
that
they? Okay.
women's basketball, like WNBA players.
Just trying to help the citizens.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
Basically, current players
Mhm.
invested their money, which by the way, they're all not getting paid a ton of money. Most of these players I know have endorsements and stuff, but like, so they invested their money into a league. It's a 3-on-3 league, and it's so most women players today will play overseas during the off season because
And this is how it's always been, because that's actually where they make their money.
that's where
Right,
they, yeah,
yes.
exactly. And so during the off season, they would play overseas. It's sometimes they're not coming back or whatever it is because that's where they're making all their money. And so in this scenario, they set up this league that is set up to specifically pay women, like pay the athletes what they're worth, and they don't have to leave during the off season because it's during the off season. So it's basically a league to say, you don't have to leave your families and up and leave where your environment. We're gonna do this really cool 3-on-3 league. We have investors that are
That's
coming
like
in.
Exactly.
owned, operated by
So
Women.
all of the players have stake in the league. Like the first year
That's
players, they
awesome.
all got like excuse me, like a certain percentage based on like their longevity, you know what I mean, like how long they had been in the league, like what their accolades were or whatever. But and they all but it's really like what they did for themselves, but then like how they got people to back them.
Yeah.
And this is where like the women's sports buzz come in, right? Like I'm pretty sure Carmelo Anthony's an investor, Michael Phelps, Coco Golf.
Yeah, shit, there's so many.
Give me some soccer. I think Rapino might be. I think Rapino
Probably
might be
Sue
one. I
Bird,
know.
Taras. I don't know. Like
Yeah,
some of them. Oh, there are other players.
yeah. I don't think Tarasi is because she just retired.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's awesome. But it's just
But
like
what they've done, right?
Yeah,
Like
women get shit done.
100%. But even so, like I actually just went down there. I went down for the February 20th weekend,
Yeah, who'd you see play?
and we saw. So I specifically went down to see the Miss, which is Brianna Stewart's team.
Okay.
Her, Jackie, not Jackie Young, Jewel Lloyd, Courtney Vandersloot. I stopped there because I never can name all 6 players.
Well, I know those at least.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's
yeah.
that.
And then my second favorite team was the Vinyl, who had Enrique, which I can stop there because that's like, my favorite player in the league right now. She
Oh
is
my
so tough.
God, I remember how many years ago since the final game?
Exactly. It's so crazy, right? Because as a UConn fan, heartbreak.
Yes.
Enrique broke my heart that night.
But
like,
as a
what,
b-ball
maybe
fan, you're like,
you gotta respect what she does on the court.
it's beautiful.
Yeah, but the experience down there was so dope, and so like you walk up and they've got like the little fan fest area, where right, they got your little shooting hoops. They had 360 cams, like all type of little backdrops and stuff. And then you walk in and it's like the merch store where you know what I mean they just selling
Sell
whatever merch,
jerseys
and
and
they
stuff.
actually
It's
maybe a
recently
couple recently got the license to actually sell their jerseys
with their names on the back.
Yeah, with their names on the back. And I'm only saying this because I have to describe the experience, guys. Okay, all right. I had courtside seats down there, and so they had they had like a little special room or whatever, and they had drinks in there for us, but they also had like food in there for us, and it wasn't just like. I mean, they were just like little finger sandwich, like barbecue sandwiches, chicken sandwiches, pork. They had dessert and stuff, but it was like your own private room that you know what I mean. You can just walk off and go do your thing, and then go out to the court. But the environment down there, it's like it gives you like the old Hoosier gym vibe. You know what I mean? Just like the fans are just sitting on top of the court. It only holds like 900 people, so it's perfect for the environment. The DJ is playing the entire the time, right?
That's
like
the way to do it though. Don't
it was
put 'em in
so
a
like
75,000 person stadium.
exactly
Like make it intimate, make it a fun
it's
environment.
so intimate, and it just felt good. Like even I've watched almost all of the games on the weekends or whatever, but being down there, I was like, oh, this is like way doper than I thought it was. And to know that they sat down themselves and like designed that league, right? There's like I'm pretty sure there's like childcare there all day for all the mothers.
That's amazing.
There's estheticians down there. They have a full weight room down there. They have recovery room. They all have every team has their own training. Like the way they did it. It's not that they did it. It's the way they did it.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it's about to put so much pressure on the WNBA.
Oh yeah.
Because these players have now experienced something different that got built in like a year and a half.
Yep.
Right.
But a lot of that has to do like the way they did it. It's because they know.
They know.
Like the people
like,
that
we
are
are
doing
them.
it. Yeah. It's like this is what I know I need.
Exactly.
And then they just but they did it too. Like is insane.
It's insane. And it's just so many sponsors like jumped on board, even to the point I'm like, how can they get like how did they think to get Sephora as a sponsor for a women's basketball league? Because it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Right.
And the WNBA is like,
right.
You know what I mean? So like
that.
and I think again, I think it all goes to the buzz, right? Like also a lot of these brands are now seeing the energy
value.
that's 100%, 100%, and that people like actually really are a fan of women's basketball because like it's a really, really good product. And then you look at college and it's not stopping anytime soon.
No, with the athletes they have still. So like as someone who's a bad women's sports fan.
Right. And I know, yeah.
I'm a terrible women's sports fan. It's really been recently that I've started to watch women's sports again. Like just last night, I did an NWSL fantasy draft.
That's
like,
dope.
Yeah, it's actually pretty dope. But like, I am admittedly a terrible women's sports fan, And it hasn't always been that way because when I was younger, like Diana Taurasi was someone who
Right.
I like idolized, and then like going up like Maya Moore, I was like so into it. But like post college, Jen dropped off. It was like I don't know if me like you mentioned this earlier. Like I don't know if I just needed a break.
Right.
If watching it was just too hard for me or
Yeah,
whatever it
yeah, yeah,
was, I don't want to use that as an excuse. I'm a bad women's sports fan, but like the hype now, I don't know why. But it started for me almost 2 seasons ago
yeah.
for in March Madness for the NCAA tournament, and then last season, it was I would say was it 2 seasons ago because it was or last season was because Virginia Tech
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
had
Yeah,
that
yeah, they
good
had their
run
run last year. Yep,
and
with
just
Georgia Amore.
yeah, and but every team on the women's
It's
side
parity. Like it's finally
finally
real parity.
you don't just have like one or two or three here and there.
You cannot write in UConn, Tennessee, Duke, Notre Dame anymore.
Yeah.
And you can't do it. And
It's-
that's you filling out a women's bracket back in the day. Literally used to like
Easy.
pick the highest seed all the way to the championship game and then pick the team with the best record and they're going to win the championship.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it may be 4 games that like, oh,
Maybe.
that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like you really can't do that anymore.
Yep. No, it makes
Yeah.
it so much more exciting.
Yeah.
And I feel like the WNBA needs to catch up. They saw this last season. There was so much talent and there's not enough teams.
Yeah.
So for reference, these kids are freaking good and they're graduating and there's only like 8 WNBA teams.
The WNBA is cutthroat.
It's insane.
It's cutthroat.
And
They
so
say it's like one of the hardest leagues to
Yeah.
turn pro into, even if you get drafted, because there's just not a lot
So
of
few
spots. And then
teams.
the vets play for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can't go in there and be
Taurasi
like
just retired after how many years?
20, 21?
Wow.
21. Before that, it was Sue Bird went for 20. Like
Yeah.
there's
Is
a
basketball typically a like you can play into your older age? I didn't think so.
traditionally, but I would say this. Our generation, right? Because like Tarasi's, even if LeBron, Steph, KD, right? Like people
They're
are
playing-
playing a lot longer now, but I
Yeah.
think it's just the advancement of sport
Yeah.
and like, you know what I mean, player health and like off season and the way you're training your body, diet, all that. I think it's just
It's-
gotten a lot better, so people are able to sustain their bodies more now. But
Yep.
it's 20 years is still an outlier. though.
Yeah. I was like,
It's not normal.
Like I still try to jump up and touch like the top of my door and sometimes body, you know what I mean,
right.
snap,
'Cause
crackle,
I'm
and pop.
thinking,
So
like they're in their like late 30s, early
in
40s.
like it's like 40-year-olds are playing now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because when we were young, a 40-year-old looked like a 60-year-old.
Right.
But yeah,
you
so
say that.
but to that point though, you have Golden State Valkyries
Mm-hmm.
coming this season.
new
It's a
team.
new
So they
team,
didn't
so
have-
they've expanded now.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're expanding the league.
You have Toronto Tempo coming next season.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have, I think Portland has a bid in to get their
To get another league.
Yep, to get theirs back. I think Cleveland has a bid in now. Tennessee has a bid in.
Shit.
Yeah, Candace Parker, Peyton Manning, I think Tim McGraw,
They're
they're all a
putting in-
part of that ownership
Of
company.
course they
It's
are.
called the Tennessee Summit. Personally, as a lifelong basketball fan, I don't understand how you couldn't give them the franchise. You know who Pat Summit is?
An icon, a legend.
Oh, it's okay if
Of
you don't.
course.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. The winningest coach in basketball. Is she still the
Not
winningest
anymore.
coach?
I think
okay.
I think Gino.
At the time,
I think
she was
Gino's
the
got it
winningest
now,
coach.
But yeah, not I
Across,
think I
like,
know. I'm pretty
the
sure it's Gino.
winningness?
The winningest. So she's
Is
won
that
the
a
most.
word?
Winningest?
That's what we say in basketball. So I'm gonna
Okay,
say
I was
yes.
like,
I was like, that's a thing, right?
That's the only thing we've ever called them. Yeah,
But
she
yeah,
like pioneered women's basketball. Like
Yes.
she built
Oh
that
my
crazy
gosh.
program at the University of Tennessee.
yeah. Okay. Yes,
And by
yes,
crazy
yes.
I mean very sustained
Yeah.
greatness,
Just-
and passed away. I don't know, maybe 5-10 years ago. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
how
guess
long
it's-
been, but it's been a minute now.
it's had to have been a while now.
But anyway, there's now
Pat.
a bid to bring a WNBA franchise to Tennessee called the Tennessee Summit.
Oh.
And it was Pat Summit was her name.
And we feel good about this.
Oh,
Yeah.
love
Okay.
that.
I need chickens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
for
no.
sure. So
It's almost like, why is that not already a thing?
yeah, so the expansion is a real thing now, and I even think when you're looking at the people that are investing into, putting their names
Yeah.
a part of like the investment groups, I think it's just again a testament to women's basketball. But I think the mad people in March have a lot to do with it.
They do.
Because the product, you have to see that
You
like it's
see
going to
it.
continue, right? It can't just be what we have now. It has to be,
It
you know what I mean,
starts
what the
there.
newcomers are doing and who's out there.
Yep.
it's some folks out there.
Yeah, well, you build that hype. So like last year and this, you've heard the names. The biggest names coming out of women's college basketball, obviously Caitlin Clark, but
Yep.
you have Angel Reese. You had a lot of other people,
Yep.
but those were like kind of two that were taking a head spotlight. And don't ask me why. I don't get this. Maybe you understand it. But like for some reason, I don't actually think either one of them have a problem with each other, but the media chose to turn it into a
Yeah.
competition
I
between the
think
two
it's
of
just
them.
like I think it's like the perfect American parody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like seriously, you and like Caitlyn, like little hometown country grown white girl. You know what I mean? But she got like she's nice on the court and she has
Mhm.
a flashy game. Like
Oh, yes.
Caitlyn popped the way she popped because like she has a very like flamboyant game, right?
Mhm.
Like it's exciting to watch her play because she has a unique skill set.
Yeah.
And well,
Angel is kind of just the gritty, like,
she's a
and I'm gonna
baller.
be fragile by the way I say this because, like, as a black woman, as a black basketball player, like, I'm not trying to drive. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for sure, people it gets touchy the way they get described. So, but she's just tough. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and she just goes and get it, and she was able to be very, very, very productive and do her own things in unique ways.
Yeah.
Right.
And it just so happened that, you know what I mean, that both of their teams was really good, and it was
Right.
this
And then it
clash.
also
And
makes sense to your point that the media's like, okay, we've decided we're going to portray Caitlin
Yeah,
Clark, this Southern white
100%,
girl,
our
as
little
this.
darling baby.
And
Yes.
yeah. And
But,
then
yeah.
decide not only are we going to like portray them in those different ways, but they also aren't going to like each other. And they're
100%.
probably like, we have no problem with each
No,
other.
No.
they're competitors. Like,
Yeah.
of course, when we're on the court, like, we're
Yeah,
gonna talk
everybody
a little bit.
is.
Like, if I went out and played right now at Rockwood,
And
I'd
we're-
probably start barking at somebody.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? At
if
some
we're
point,
playing
like,
against each
honestly,
other, I'd
like,
be
it's
like,
just the
"Come on."
nature of who you
Yeah.
are. Like, when that's what you do.
That's how it works. I also think part of it, so Caitlin Clark's game, I worry is where basketball is headed, is all 3 points. Not that that's her only, like, that's all her bag, but like, it's a big part of her game. It's a big part of what is fancy in the NBA because
Mhm.
Steph Curry's made 3s
Mhm.
and now everybody shoots 3s.
Mhm.
It's fucking absurd in my mind, but
It's
whatever.
wild.
But that's why I think I almost feel like Angel Reese. I was like on her because she's actually plays ball.
Yeah.
Like she's down there boxing out, getting rebounds,
Yeah.
putting it
She's
back.
gritty.
Like, and honestly, she can drive from the free throw line. Like, she's got a game that's really, really nice, but overshadowed because of a flashy 3-point
Right,
shooter.
right. And I think the one thing I appreciate about women's basketball, and I actually think it's a reason why it's such a big deal right now, is that because we're not as like tall and athletic and stuff, like we'll never be able to adapt like the layup, dunk, and 3-point package the way that men's basketball has been able
Yeah.
to, right? Like we still have to play basketball.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. We have to play the
there's
game.
gonna be some people that can stretch the game for sure, but like you still have to be able to be like dynamic and break down the game and think the basketball game, right? Like you
Yes.
just can't like out athletic
Yeah.
somebody. And Rachel, I don't know if that's a proper term.
Yeah. It's like, where is this going?
That's all.
You can't athletic someone.
But talking of Angel Reese, and I'm gonna tie this into Unrivaled and why that league is so special. The player development piece down there has been
Oh.
unbelievable. Like people that maybe haven't watched Angel play a lot in Unrivaled and that are going to watch her play come back in the WNBA this season are going to say she is so much more developed as a skill player. She's
Ooh.
more patient. She's more efficient around the basket. And granted, it's 3-on-3, right? There's not
Yeah.
as many people on the court. But it's because Lisa Leslie, she is
Name.
she's a commentator down there, right? She does color down there.
Okay.
And before when the league started, like she told Angel Reese, I think Nafisa Collier too, maybe some other bids, like I'm going to help y'all develop when I'm down there. So she's down there working out post play.
Yes.
A lot of the coaches are player development guys. Phil Handy, the Phantoms coach, I just went blank and forgot all of their names. But they're either like WNBA assistants, player development coaches, or like former coaches. Teresa Weatherspoon's down there too, right? There was a story last night on the game. Brittany Sykes plays for the Rose. Her coach is Nola Henry.
Okay.
Teresa Weatherspoon coaches the Vinyl. Sykes had a weekend where she was missing layups and kind of like got in her head about it. She called Teresa Weatherspoon, the coach of another team, and was like, "Will you come work with me in the gym?" and Teaspoon went and worked her out. That's why that league is special.
That's so sick.
Because they're invested in the product of women's basketball. They're not. It's not just about like their team.
Awesome.
It's amazing.
So happy
like
to hear that.
community.
It's community.
Yeah.
Right, and then like all
That's
of their
hype.
kids get to be down there running around each other. Then they also have the daycare. Like,
Yeah.
it's really amazing. But bring that back to Angel Reese. Each week I've watched her play, I'm like, oh, she has a skill set now.
Yeah.
Right? Because she was just motor.
Yes.
Like, she can just go make some stuff happen.
I didn't think she was gonna make it in the WNBA because I was like, she's just such like a like in college.
100%. Right.
I don't think
the efficiency and the effectiveness was. I said she's not gonna have a problem rebounding the ball because like it's like Mel, right? You know Mel.
Yep.
Mel was our Angel Reese, right? And they call him back then. They called him raw talent. Raw talent meant she can make some stuff happen. It's not necessarily traditional. It's not very skillful, not finesse, but she gonna make some stuff happen.
Yeah.
That was our Mel. Mel was undersized, 5'9", maybe 5'10". She'll tell you she's not 5'10". Mel and I also played in college together. She broke the rebounding record in 3 years as a 5'9" center. Right? So there's some things you can't teach players.
Yeah.
Right? That was Angel. My concern with her was, when is a coach going to sit her down and make her develop like a post game?
I thought.
Right? Like she can go back to basket, have a drop step, a power dribble, you know what I mean? Fake inside, come back up and under. Like, when is she going to add that to her package? Because then she's going to be like crazy dynamic.
That's what
Lisa Leslie has helped her get there.
I love to hear that.
Thank you.
Oh.
Is 5'9" short for women's basketball?
Even for
players?
women's basketball, as a center, yes. Or a forward. I won't call her a center, a forward. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
well, yeah.
Especially now. Like, when we came up, your centers was probably like 6'2". Like, that was a good center for you. Everybody in the league in WNBA has a 6'5" center now. Like, it's 6'5" girls everywhere now.
Yeah, it's absurd.
But like back then, Mel as 5'9", 5'10", like she was always playing someone 6. You know what I mean? 6 foot, 6'1", and like they couldn't do nothing with her.
So fun fact: one of my best friends, big basketball fan, she played in high school, and she works at a high school, and she's like the basketball mom for like all the kids. And she was like, yeah, my I don't know, she was talking about going on a date with some guy, and he's like, but my dream of like having a kid who's tall enough to play basketball, like we need to get some more height there. And I told her, I was like, but isn't there one position that's okay to be super short? And she goes, no, they all need to be somewhat tall. And I was like, but that player in Space Jam.
Muggsy Bogues was my idol growing up.
I was just like, yeah, there's one position in basketball where you can
just
be
like
small.
playing at 40 is an outlier.
Yeah.
And my height in the NBA is also an outlier.
Yeah. How tall are you?
5'5".
Was that taller than Muggsy Bogues? I feel like he was like 5'4".
He's
5'3" maybe.
Yeah.
He was a tiny man. He might have been 5'5" though.
Kids, believe in yourself.
Yeah. I will say it's easier if you're going into men's to be taller, men's basketball. Whereas like women, I think a lot of it's talent, but also at the same time, like height helps.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Yeah. You
like
can't teach it.
You can't.
You can't, like, it sucks, right? Like as the 5'5" basketball player who like. And when we came up, like, it wasn't acceptable being short and being a basketball player. Like, I had plenty of coaches tell me, like, if you were 5'7", we would all like. No, but it was all, like, I knew that was coming.
I get it, but it's
I know. It sounds so cutthroat, right?
no
That's what kids need today. They need people to tell them the truth. No, but like, I think the opinion and perspective did change. But I'm serious.
Wow, slow to like to camera.
Because these kids need help out here today. Yeah. And let me tell you, I'm always going to be the one. If people tell you, I don't play with my nieces and nephews. You'll never beat me in anything until you can honestly beat me. And at that point, I won't play you. So we're good. Undefeated. I think the opinion of like short hoopers, I don't think it's like as stringent as it was, right? Because people have just figured out how to utilize people like in their strengths and stuff like that or whatever. But also, like, if I have to choose between a 6 foot point guard and like a 5'4" one, like, unless that 6 foot is like a horrible defender and she could never guard her position, like, I'm probably gonna go with her, right? It's like Juju.
Yeah.
Juju's a dog. Like, okay. I don't know where we got you. Okay. Juju should right now be getting the same hype that Caitlin Clark got.
Okay.
Because she's breaking her records.
She's a sophomore at the University of Southern California, and she is going to be like the next one.
Yes.
Her game's not flashy, right? And that's also like a big part of sport, unfortunately, but also fortunately, right? Like people that are like quote unquote more exciting to watch
Right.
are always gonna have a bigger buzz. But I also think it takes like your community putting you on that pedestal sometime too. And Iowa went crazy for Caitlin,
they
right?
did a really
But
good
she
job of that.
stayed home.
Yep.
And just in the same way that Juju's at home too. She's from California or whatever,
Okay.
but she's I don't know, maybe 6', 6'1", but she can do everything.
Everything.
And she's a great defender. And the
Gosh, she's a baller.
if you know basketball, you know her name.
Okay.
Like, and you knew it last year when she was a freshman.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you probably knew it when she was a senior in high school.
Wow.
Because she played at the same high school that LeBron's son Bronny played
Okay.
at, Sierra Canyon,
That's
right?
cool.
So she was like, she's been that girl for a
Yeah.
minute now. But like, you have those pieces coming up and coming out, and again, she's 6 foot, right? So like, if there's a girl that's 5'6" that can do the same thing,
Well,
Juju's 6
like
foot.
what is
It's like she's 6 feet
okay, how much better do you need to be if you're short
better.
to like or that's like what is the handicap that a tall person gets for
They don't
like,
play hard. You can, but see,
they're just like you can be
right?
this bad.
You can
but-
always like be a better competitor than somebody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you can be good, but like if you're too nonchalant and you know what I mean, like yeah, I know, but you got somebody out there that wants it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see my face?
Yeah.
That's
like,
what it looked like.
What I'm hearing is that like if I was 6'3" and decided I wanted to play basketball, I could.
No.
That's not actually what I
No,
think
no,
we're
no.
saying, but I
No.
like that.
If you were
confidence.
6'3" and wanted to play basketball and wanted to put in the work and then also on the court, like you made your presence felt,
Sure.
then you could do it.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. I didn't mean that to come across as like,
okay.
of course anyone can play women's basketball. No, I'd be very bad.
No one took it like
Good.
Yeah, you're good.
but we're just saying, right? If you have like the same competitor, same athlete, but it also is more complicated that too, right? Because it's also systems and programs and coaches and where you come from and like that. But that's what recruiting is for.
Yeah.
As a coach, do your job, recruit
Yeah.
the best fit for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And again, that's where Iowa excelled with Caitlin Clark because they also didn't put restraints on her, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but they was like, "Yo, this is how you play. Go play that way."
Green
A
light
lot
all
of
the time.
coaches would have been like, "Hey, this is the system. We need you to settle down and do a little bit more of this." Iowa didn't do that for her. They let her be her and develop and grow in the same way that Davidson did for Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Right? Steph wouldn't have been able to do that anywhere else.
Yeah.
You know Steph Curry?
Yes.
All right, cool. We good. I got
Yeah,
you.
there you
Yeah,
go.
I'm not like so inept in
Hey,
understanding.
I just want to make sure,
No,
we're all holding
I
hands
appreciate
in
it.
your
Even though
pocket.
like when I do know something, I'm like, good job, me.
Yeah,
yeah.
you should be proud of
Yeah,
yourself.
you should.
I mean, you touched on this though, but like that's one thing that is insane. So again, not a good women's sports fan. I'm getting better. And I think I'm attaching myself more to Washington teams just because that's the closest team.
Right.
So I got hype last year around the Spirit, and it just so happened that they went to the finals. They lost, but it's okay. And also it's kind of hype that they got flashy players. They have people that are fun to watch. But your following has nothing to do with other players in the league. So like Caitlin Clark has a great following.
Mm-hmm.
People from Iowa love that this girl went to Iowa, grew up, and
100%.
like everything stays. And so they love that. They love her. They love that there's this amazing player that they can call their own.
Exactly.
And they flock to that and they celebrate that. What we need to do is make sure we're doing that for all of the athletes. It's not the Iowa people's responsibility to now be fans of every player necessarily.
Argued with people
right
about this.
It's like it is your job as like if that is your team and that is your people, get behind someone and support them.
The pedestal.
Put that. Caitlin Clark's not on my pedestal.
Don't wait for ESPN to do it. You do it, right?
Yeah.
Like social media drives everything.
Have your own.
You know what I mean? And so this was another one of my beefs last year with like the Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese thing.
Yeah.
Right? It like you just said, Iowa got behind their player. That was their girl. She's from their home. And she also got drafted to Indiana.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like they still got to do that. But make no mistake about it. when they came to DC last year, we set 2 WNBA records for attendance.
Wow.
And I'm gonna say it was not because of the Washington Mystics.
fans. That's those they
Both of those
travel.
games moved to
Yeah.
Capital One Arena, and both of those games sold out. One of the Chicago Sky games, where Angel Reese plays, also moved to Capital One Arena. There was a noticeable difference in the look of the crowd and also in the amount of the people that were in the crowd. So my thing is, don't get mad and bark.
Yeah.
And say, why are they talking about Caitlin Clark? Because 20,000 people will come see her play.
Yeah.
Right.
They're
Okay?
flying.
If you're one of Angel Reese's riders, or what like Reese's Pieces, if you're Reese's Pieces,
Oh, I
go to
like
the
that.
game.
I like that.
That's fun.
Go to the game, right?
Yeah.
Like it was probably
Support.
still 10,000 people at that game, right? Like the numbers weren't weak whatsoever.
Yeah.
But my point is, a lot of people sit and get mad. We tired of hearing about Caitlin. We tired of hearing, but you know who's not tired of hearing about her? Her fans.
Yep.
Right.
So they show up.
It's kind of cool to be like, as a fan, you actually have power to
You
hype
have
up your
the power.
players. Like, go and support them.
Do it.
And you can't wait. That's like, I don't know, like an analogy is like waiting on the government to do something. It's like if you're passionate about something,
Figure
like
out how to
get
do
out
it.
there
Exactly.
and like make your voice heard.
Exactly. I was watching
Oh,
ESPN
love
the
it.
other day, and Stephen A. was talking about Juju.
Oh yeah.
And Stephen A. Smith runs like one of the biggest sports news like
Okay.
show
Short
for like
show.
the last 15 years, right? It's
Mhm.
called First Take. And he was like, why are we not talking about Juju more?
Yeah.
That was a rhetorical question. What he was saying was, I want to talk about Juju more, but the ratings have to prove
that I can't.
that we can do that.
Right.
There was no question of whether or not we could talk about Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
Because her people were going to make sure that if it was something that we tweeted, put on Instagram, whatever it was, the
They're gonna
information was
support.
going to circulate.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it going to happen if we do this with Juju?
Oh, man.
Get
should.
behind the people that y'all claim y'all excited about.
Yeah.
That's it. That's literally that was my only argument. People were like, you're such a Caitlin Clark fan. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm really not.
Yeah.
She has a unique skill set, yes. Also, her fans love her, and
Yeah.
they make sure that everyone knows it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
And
the
then
same for the people you like.
It's also fun. Like the fans have made that into a
100%.
community.
And
for
fun
this-
for
And a
everybody though.
community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But it's fun to watch those games. Like I
is.
personally like there's other players that I think have a really good game. And I think that they've done more for the WNBA
And women's
in their
basketball.
time.
100%.
However, solely because she brought this swarm of fans, she has done a ton for the game of women's basketball. I think it is great that she's doing it. Do I think that it should have happened long before her? Yes.
Of course.
But I don't give a fuck that it hasn't happened yet. I'm glad it's finally fucking happening.
But that's like any and everything, right?
Right.
Like we all get older at some point, hit 30, 40, 50, and look back at something we did and like, man, that is so much better now.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Like
Right?
we're
Yeah.
making
It also
progress
sees
here.
us
Be
participating in
Proud
that.
and happy of
100%.
that instead of just like, well, how come
Picking
I
it
didn't
apart.
get
Picking
that?
it apart. But
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
just likes to pick shit apart.
Yeah.
And it
I'm just happy it's
pisses me
happening.
off. Yeah. I am. So overall, I'm just like very thrilled and just like proud. Like as a former basketball player, like I have a big sense of pride in like where women's basketball and like you say in general women's sports like
Yeah.
is I think that there also will be spillover one just for the simple fact that women support each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
And we should always support each other.
yeah,
Period.
for sure.
Because we shouldn't expect that from men. Fuck men.
Yeah.
We should just expect to support
Okay.
each other. I'm not saying that no men are
I said that
allies.
Right.
about 10, 15 years
Right.
ago.
But I feel like that, like you could say it for so many different things that women don't necessarily support women enough for. But like I feel like we're getting better about it. We need to keep doing it. Unrivaled is a great example of it.
Yeah,
It
I think
is.
that's so cool that they were just like, fuck this. We're not waiting on the WNBA. Like, we're doing our own thing
Exactly.
and we care, we're passionate, we're organized. And other people, not just women, were like, fuck yes.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my money in this
100%.
because this rules. And when you build something that supports and celebrates that
Exactly.
group,
Mhm.
it will thrive.
100%.
I'm not trying to change to a different sport,
Do your
but
thing. It's your thing.
great example is like women's soccer
Mhm.
and how the U.S. women's national team is amazing.
100%.
And they have set a completely new standard for women's soccer. That's why it's more competitive now to watch. But they brought it up so much, and all these fans come out and watch the U.S. women's national team play. And then when it's over, they don't support the National Women's Soccer League. They don't support women's soccer
No, that's a
outside
fact.
of the
It's a
U.S.
fact.
Like, and that happened for so long. And I think it's taking time now that you start to see. I know, like, Rapinoe and Sue Bird have invested some within that side of things, but also, like, you've got Patrick Mahomes
Right.
investing and setting up a league in San Diego.
Right.
Not Sandy. Is he? No, Kansas City, right?
Casey.
Obviously, because that's where he plays. But I think San Diego was like actors and actresses that set up and funded for that team. So, like, it's a similar wave. I'm glad it's not happening on the backs of like one person.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm glad it's happened because, like, this team was magical. Look at all of the talent that now like we have within our young female athletes. It's happening in soccer. They're having their moment. I think they're a little behind into what women's basketball is today. But, like, this is like that's a moment for them,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
we need to get hype around it.
I think also the women's national team and like the women's Olympic team, like basketball team, right? I think they've had similar journeys in where they have just like dominated the world for so long.
Wasn't even a competition.
But I think the trajectory, like you're saying, of like where women's basketball is a blueprint now for like other women's sports, and maybe some things that you can do. Because also, I actually don't want to like overlook, but was it Athletes Unlimited? That's where everyone watches women's sports like
Together, right?
together.
Is that the brand? Together?
It was that.
Yeah, I think it's I thought it was like a bunch of the athletes put this brand together.
Yeah.
Maybe that is.
Yeah.
I just know it says together on my sweatshirt.
Oh, does it? Okay, well, that little, it's like a little. What the little logo look like? All right. Well, there's a Athletes Unlimited. It's similar to like a Unrivaled, but I don't want to say similar. But it's another opportunity that it wasn't players that did it, but people had an idea and they wanted to make women's professional sports more available.
Yep.
But it's like softball. I think it's volleyball.
Yeah.
Basketball. Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of different things that are happening, and they were before Unrivaled. Like, they were maybe 3, 4, 5 years in.
Oh, that's cool.
Of what's going on. But yeah, like you said, I just think there's just so much energy around it. And this is another thing I want to say. And like, R.I.P. Kobe. And I, as a basketball fan, was not a Kobe fan, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I am going to give him his respect because I think a lot of the buzz happened when he retired and started supporting the WBA the way that he was supporting the WBA.
Oh, so true.
Because I think it did two things. I think it made the idiots say, Kobe's at so many WNBA games. And then I think it also maybe let other people who like were interested in it, like it was like okay for a dude to be like, nah, like they can hoop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love that. And Steph is another one with his Curry brand. As he signed her to an NIL deal, like really, really early. Malaysia Fulwali down at South Carolina. She's a part of the Curry brand. But again, male basketball players have never had a problem.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Acknowledging.
But they respect the game.
They understand the game.
They understand. And they know that
like,
it's beautiful.
What's happening.
It's fun to watch.
Exactly.
Like,
but yeah, and I just think that is also a reason why like so many people are seeing like women's sports as an investment opportunity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, like that's somewhere I can support women, empower women, but also like see my money grow, right? Because like at the end of the day, that's what
it both worlds.
You know what I mean? And so like I think like it's just this big culmination of like all these things just happening at the right time. Like it was meant to happen now, right? Like Caitlyn came around at the right time. Angel came around at the right time. Like
I love it.
Hannah Hidalgo, Olivia Miles. Like there's Cameron Brink, right? She barely even got to play
tore
this
ACL.
season. Yeah, tore ACL. But like it's so much opportunity.
Yeah.
And all of these leagues like just complement, you know what I mean, and give opportunity, like you said. Because when we were coming up, like it was you going overseas. Like if you want to play, you're going overseas.
Yeah.
Like,
which I have a question about.
Yeah.
So the U.S. is like dominant for basketball, right? And so, and you're saying like women's basketball players get paid more when they play overseas. Like who is paying them? What are these leagues?
More people overseas, other countries respect women's sports and they go to those games.
Okay, so it's just like
they're
women's
earning more
sports
from
It's professional
overseas
leagues
in
overseas,
general, not
100%.
specifically like women's basketball.
Yeah, no,
That's like,
it's
okay.
like you look at like women's soccer. There's
Yeah.
a whole super league for women's soccer overseas. It's just people respect women's sports in other countries and go and support those sports.
So we're saying the U.S. has sexist tendencies?
What?
What?
I don't know if it's and honestly, this might be controversial. I don't actually know if it's sexist because, in my opinion, I don't expect like it's. I think that you could say men watch men's sports, women watch women's sports. The problem is men watch men's sports and women don't watch women's sports.
But I think it's probably from like a history of sexism, of like it's embarrassing for me as a man to support proudly and loudly women's sports, and then it's like if people aren't supporting it loud and proud, then it's like.
But I also think it also it's a money thing, right? Like women's sports didn't have financial backing. They don't have it. I won't say
still barely does.
Don't have financial backing over here, right? Like it took the players. Like at Unrivaled, the players got paid on average like $225,000 a player. I think the average salary in the WA now, and I'm about to be generous. I know this is not it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I'm not even gonna say it because it would be a lie.
Like
I'm gonna say like 75,000. Yeah,
I think that might be
right.
That's
So
wild.
Diana Taurasi just retired, right? We were just talking about her. 21 years in the WNBA. She played in Russia, I think, for like 10 years, where like Russia, China, like they play our players $1 million a year to play them contracts.
Yeah.
So I think 2015, Diana Taurasi sat out of the WNBA season because Russia asked her to because she had too many miles on her body.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they go from, okay, we'll do that later. They go from WNBA season May to let's say September, and like the day they lose, they go and honor their overseas contract in which they might get back February, March. Like there's no off season for them.
Yeah. Wow. So it's almost and that's so hard on the body.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like they're playing in the U.S. is just for funsies.
For funsies.
It's
That's exactly what I was gonna say. They want to play here, right? Because like that is when because even overseas, like there's rules and regulations. You can only have like 2 foreigners on a team at a time, right? So like you can't go over there and build like an American team and like compete the way you want to. So that's what the WNBA serves a purpose for, right? It's like over here we can all like get together on our squads. These are the best squads in the world.
And then you
would
think
get paid.
Watching the game, like watching the WNBA games, are more exciting because you have.
Well, you don't even watch. We don't watch Euro Cup games.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like you would think it's like that. It sounds like the youth is coming around, but it's just like more exciting to watch, and it's still.
Yeah, I mean, I watch European soccer and don't watch.
That's 100%. But like that's like. I watch. But soccer is like the sport.
Yeah, and
exactly.
That is
whereas
the European.
Yeah, I mean, like.
But that's exactly. So like, I watch their sport.
Yeah.
They would watch our sport. It's our sport. U.S. owns basketball.
Yeah. Well, and that's like. But I also think another thing, like the WNBA is still relatively like a baby league, right? I think they're 27 years in now, which sounds like old, but like the NBA is like
crazy to be like I'm older than the WNBA.
Yeah,
like significantly.
Yeah,
and I'm not calling you, but like me, right? Like I remember the inaugural WNBA season. Like I remember going and buying the orange and white basketball.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like. I remember the Houston Comets winning the first 4 championships. I remember the teaspoon. Like I grew up watching that league like become a thing
Those players.
And transition and like try to find footing. Like anything exciting, anything new is exciting, right?
Yeah.
But then like it has to be sustainable as well. And then stuff happens and you're trying to make women's basketball this product, which I don't know if you have watched it, but there is a documentary on the 1996 women's basketball Olympic team.
I have not seen that.
You gotta watch.
Okay, I'm interested.
Yeah, that sounds really up your alley.
It tells like the story because they essentially was the birth of the WNBA.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Like I think they won in '92. Maybe they lost it in '88, won in '92, or either the other way around. But they put this team together. Tara Vanderbilt like took off a year of coaching at Stanford to like travel around the world. And like just get this team some traction and stuff because the games were in Atlanta, and you just see like how unsexy that journey was. But like they were pioneering a sport.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like in this country and like trying to get something off of the ground and like and it was just like a really and I'm not gonna say much about it because I just really want y'all to watch it. But like it's like a really beautiful story, but it tells like how they tried to market them.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, and how uncomfortable it was for most of them because a lot of them were gay.
Yeah.
But you
Oh.
couldn't. It
But-
was 96. You weren't
Oh,
marketing.
shit. Yeah. Okay. I'm like,
You know what I
I
mean?
was like, what?
You
What?
weren't marketing gay women on TV, like, because men did not want to see that.
Right.
So you start in this league on these like kind of false identities that a lot of y'all got them in these like sexy dresses,
Right.
and
They're
it's not who they
marketing these players. That's a fake identity.
right. But all of that plays a part into like sustaining a business model.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But again, I think
nuts.
it goes back to why Unrivaled is so beautiful, because from the beginning, and we're in a completely different space and world,
Yeah.
but they get to
We've
do it
come a long
exactly
way.
how they want to do it and what's authentic to them, and like everything's okay.
That's
Yeah.
tough.
You know what I mean?
That's so promising for women's sports.
Yeah,
And I say women's sports because I feel like they're setting an example.
100%.
Like what they're doing isn't necessarily just going to pave the way for women's basketball. It's going to pave the way for women's
For
sports.
a lot of stuff.
That's exciting.
Because I think even when you think about the Olympics, like we all like watch a whole lot of different sports and like are genuinely interested
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
excited about them.
You get hype.
And you see how talented people are.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we just forget.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that so crazy?
Yeah.
And it is like people who never watch sports, the Olympics comes around and they're like, the
Everyone's in golf.
Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Like,
mean,
I love volleyball. But like
Yeah.
I don't go out of my way to watch it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm a horrible women's fan, sports fan. Like, but I think most people are.
yeah.
I
You're
see
working-
it on ESPN.
Sometimes.
I don't always click on it.
Click
Yeah.
on it.
You know what I mean?
Shit. ESPN's onto something though. Or at least maybe YouTube's doing this, but when I'm like searching through games and stuff, they don't tell you if it's men's or women's.
That's dope.
So if
Actually.
you see a matchup, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, and then like maybe you go there and you're like, oh shit, yeah,
That's
oh,
dope.
this is good. So they don't tell you that it's this or
In my
that.
defense, I also don't click on men's volleyball.
Ditto, same. I'm looking at basketball
But I
games.
do like it though.
You're like,
I
I'm
do
pretty
like it.
universal, not good supporter.
100%.
of
I'm
volleyball. Yeah.
essentially like looking for basketball.
Yes.
That is
That's
about
my
the
thought.
extent of my search. If the Yankees are in the playoff, like I'll look for them.
Yeah, there you go. Same playoffs.
Uh,
I watch
yeah.
playoff baseball. That's about right.
And also complete tangent, but you can catch me on a Sunday watching F1 though. And also on Fridays and Saturdays.
Having a moment.
Yeah,
It's been
yeah,
pumping.
yeah. That is my shit right
Yeah.
there.
No, we have to.
Like I'm a basketball fan,
F1.
but F1 is like,
Janelle,
yeah.
this is
Wow.
this
That
is
was going to
new.
be in my like fast fire questions.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, that's
Oh,
insane.
Sport after basketball.
Man,
I was
yeah.
all I was gonna say to close, like bringing it back to March Madness.
Yeah.
All I was gonna say, one more point, is that I don't watch regular season basketball really.
Right?
And people would think, why is she so hype about March Madness? She must pay attention to the season, and it's no.
It's not about
It's
that.
just the
I
excitement.
shouldn't say that. I didn't say that.
But
It is about that. It's about from November.
Get out of here. No, but I
It's
used
just
to do
special.
that.
March Madness is just
It's a special time, and it's like when I was really into Carolina basketball, I watched Carolina basketball throughout the season,
Same.
but I'm not as into it.
Me either.
And March Madness is like, oh, I'm awake now.
Yeah.
It's time to watch all things
Yeah.
basketball for back to back to back to
Seriously.
back to back.
It just kind of like, it doesn't matter what's going on. March Madness can awaken the spirit.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like that one time a year where like, because you know something that isn't supposed to happen is going to happen, right?
Mhm.
Like,
That's fun.
you know, this is like the one time like some people's dreams are genuinely going to come true. And yes, just do this little silly game of basketball, because I'm never lost on that. Basketball is quite literally checkers, right?
Yeah.
It's just a strategy game.
Yep.
That's it. You just play with your body instead of pieces. But it's a beautiful journey, right? And it can be a beautiful journey. And like,
Love it.
there's people that in schools that they didn't necessarily go to these schools thinking that they were going to be playing on ESPN
Yeah.
on like a Saturday night in March. And then
Loyola.
they're there though. And
Yeah.
then they show off.
And I get that. So I
Wow.
went to Longwood.
Yeah. Oh, they
And
wanted me to go there.
they
Oh, I know.
we could have been.
It was just
you
up the
know,
street, and I just couldn't go to school up the street.
understood. But like both men's and women's teams made it to
Yeah.
Tournament. Was
Yeah.
it last year or the year? Yeah.
and it was so exciting. And
Yeah.
that's also probably a school where you're like, yeah, you don't expect to
Exactly,
get that.
right.
And then we're all like, what?
Yeah.
Even
Like,
though
that's
they
like
lose
their
immediately,
championship.
and it's still
Yeah.
like, I don't care. That was dope.
They did
Yeah.
it. Well, because
Yeah.
that conference championship game means something.
Means something.
Yeah.
And then like the anticipation leading up to, you know what I mean? And then like you get to cheer for something. Like
Yeah.
that's like one of my biggest gripes about where I went to school is that
Don't get hype.
no, I just have nothing to cheer for the rest of my life.
Oh shit, I got you.
In terms of like a sports team. So a lot of our friends like went to tech, so like Biggs, yeah. So they always tell me I'm an honorary Hokie, and so
Yeah.
like participate when but it's not the same, right?
Yeah.
I didn't go to the school, like I don't have the same emotions and the feelings.
Right.
Like that is like my and the school I went to, like historically has an amazing women's basketball program. I have no idea what they're doing now because I refuse to look up anything about them. I'm sure they're still pretty good though,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like I don't give a fuck.
I mean, that's how I feel. Like, no, that's I'm
I'm-
glad I
yeah,
love
yeah,
my
yeah,
alma
yeah.
mater. Like, they're actually it's D3, but they're headed to the Sweet 16
Yeah.
in the tournament.
Oh,
I went and watched the game last Friday, because they hosted the first round of the tournament, and it's like that is exciting.
it
it's
is.
it's something to get hype about, and
is.
it's like I love that they're good again, and like
100%.
watching them is fun. It's a different level of basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, you set your expectations for
Yeah.
that, but it's like it's still
But
it's
it's still-
exciting because
yeah,
it's my
100%.
team. You
Yeah.
know, like my school.
Yeah.
That is what makes things
And
hype.
regardless, like you know, whoever is on the court, like they're out there trying to accomplish something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I can respect that at any level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I tried to get which I didn't go to the game either, by the way, when I'm about to say this. But my mom has a friend that has a daughter that plays basketball at the high school that we went to. And so this was in the middle of the Richmond water crisis. I feel for all of you guys who had to go through that. I did too, by the way. I was like, yeah, no, I was here. But I texted her, it was like the day we got water. And I was like, I want to go to this game. And Jen's like panicking. She wasn't OB in that moment. She was Jen. She
Yeah.
was like, our kitchen's a disaster. We were like,
"There's
all
no way."
we were like, all of our kitchens are disasters. But then my mom canceled on me anyway. So
Oh shit.
but
They made
like,
states. Won
they make-
states.
yes.
Didn't they win states? Was it?
Maybe a couple I was about to say, did they do it again this year?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I haven't looked. I'm not gonna lie. But anytime I hear that they're doing well,
Yeah.
it gives me a sense of pride.
Yeah.
And it's wild because it was quite literally 20 years ago when we were playing there.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's awesome. And I think for people who like shit on sports for just because they like to shit on things, I'm like, it is so like that feeling of like you're a group of people all rooting for the same thing is so
It's powerful.
It is.
And I do think that is such a beautiful thing
Yeah.
about
And I think it's one of the
sports.
purest things we have as like
Yeah, it's just like a
humans,
simple
right?
joy,
Like,
but it's like strong.
sport is like the one thing that everybody kind of forget about everything else.
Yeah.
And you go in and like you enjoy that competition.
Oh,
And like it doesn't matter who loves what outside of this arena right now. We're all here for the same purpose. And I think really like being in that moment of understanding like we're actually here to support these people that are doing this thing. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like that one moment of like unity always. And I think that's always been one of like the most beautiful things about sport to me is just that it's like such a unifying thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is like
completely agree.
very, you know what I mean, sometimes.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, growing up playing sports, like your teammates, you go to battle for them every day,
sure.
and it doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter that they grew up differently than you. None of that matters.
Yep.
It's like, that's my family. That's like, we're going out here. We're going to battle. We're going to war. I'm going to go to war for them. I'm going to
Yeah.
do whatever it takes.
Nothing matters once you're on the court.
Yeah. But like, it's that you learn
You're
so
not
much
threatened
more.
by my
Oh
game
yeah, I
stare.
laugh when I'm scared.
That's it. But like that's part of it. I think people that hate on sports, it's because they either didn't play and they don't understand like what that does.
Mhm.
Even outside of sports, what that does for you.
Mhm.
Sports made me who I am. Like I know if I didn't play sports, I
For
would
sure.
not be the same person
For
I am.
sure.
Yeah.
But like that's something when I think of people that are hating, they're just yucking someone's yum.
Yeah. It's like you cannot
That's
like
great.
it, but you
Yucking
don't
someone's
have
yum.
to.
I should have
Like-
brought my notebook.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you out. What were you saying? That's okay.
Oh, I just think like if you don't like sports, that's fine.
yeah.
With anything,
Like,
we were
everyone
talking
has their
about like
thing.
you cannot like Taylor Swift. That's fine, but
Yep.
why waste your energy
literally
like
hateful.
putting negative energy into the space? Like let people like. what they
100%. I
like.
also think the older you get, if you still have energy to waste on like
Yes.
hating
Yeah.
on what other people like
Make
to
it a
do,
hobby.
quite literally
Yeah.
find yourself something to do.
A different hobby, because right now your hobby is
yeah, exactly.
fucked up.
Skating is my hobby.
Right? Like, what?
Yeah, I hate. I don't have time for it. Like I respect, as long as it's like healthy and not harmful to other people. Like I respect whatever people are into. People think it's hilarious that I like F1, which
I love that.
I think it's hilarious.
and I love it. But I am a fan.
I'm an F1 freak.
My takeaway from this is like, maybe I need to watch F1.
You see what I'm saying?
Because like we like similar things. I'm like, shit, do I need to check
Once
F1?
you understand, like this is not about F1. I'm sorry, but now I gotta just real quick, just give me 30 seconds. Once you understand like the dynamic of two teammates being on the track, but like also wanting to beat each other, but also helping a team at the same time.
Oh, I didn't know.
And it gets you.
You said
That's
teammates,
how
and I
it
was like, that
works.
doesn't make sense.
Okay, I'm actually invested because I'm like,
Teammate in a
just gonna-
car.
Yeah,
200 hours. They y'all help.
yeah. That's
I'm intrigued. I know Netflix did a docuseries on that. I can watch
7th
that.
season just came out. I finished it.
Get me into
the other
it.
day. But yeah, they started season
Alright.
1. I think it started like 2017, 2018, something like that. It'll
Okay.
give you a great like baseline. I fell into it one night. Fell asleep on my couch, drunk. ESPN was on. Was probably watching basketball when I went to sleep. I don't remember. I woke up. F1 race was on. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning. It was a replay from the night before. It was Singapore. I'll never forget because I've got to go to Singapore for a race now because that's the race that made me fall in love.
Oh, that's
And I was like half sleep, and I kept like, I need to turn my TV off because I just heard the cars, and I'm like, because when I heard at that time, I'm like, it sounds like NASCAR, and like I'm not watching NASCAR.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, NASCAR fans. But like, I just heard the commentators talking, and I'm like, what is she talking about? Teammates.
yeah.
And like that was what intrigued me, right? Because
that's
like
the
as
same
someone
thing
that
for
played a
me.
team sport, I'm like, well, how does that work in a race car?
Yeah.
I don't get that.
And so like I ended up waking up and watching the end of the race, and then I like looked at the schedule and I watched the race the next weekend, and I was hooked. I went camping with not camping, but to Biggs, Bruce, Tiana. We took the RV down to Tech.
Oh shit.
Like a month and a half later,
yeah.
we was crazy lit on like Saturday night. Sunday morning, 6 a.m. I'm like, on the top bunk in the RV, and I have and Bruce is like, "Cuzzo, what you watch?" And I'm like, F1 the race about to go on.
Stop.
Like what?
He's probably like, no, get the fuck out.
Yeah, I'm like, nah. She was like, cause he started like, you know what I mean, trying to compare it to like soccer, and was he a Man U fan?
Yeah, he's a United fan.
And so anyway, yeah, but sport is beautiful. That's
It
what
is.
we're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, just now I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued.
Intrigued?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what we're here.
It's beautiful.
I am excited.
And they have an F1 Academy, which is all like female race drivers, like coming up. Yeah. I haven't been able to dive into that, but since we're talking about women's sport and
that's another
what's
one
happening, F1 actually does have a focused effort.
You know what?
Like,
today was focused mainly women's basketball. Next time, women's F1.
Women's.
Whoa. Your next topic.
Okay. Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. As I said, not a great women's sports fan. Haven't watched F1 Academy.
Yeah.
You have time to get better.
But I think that like everyone that listens, all of you citizens, but just in general, I think that's something that women can say. Like, I currently am not a good women's sports fan. How can I be better? How can I be a better advocate? Especially for me, I say that to myself as someone who played women's sports. How can I be a better advocate for that sport, for those people growing up? Because like, I feel like maybe if it was what it is today, is my drive going to be different? Like, am I going to actually think that it makes sense for me to go to college instead of like saying, oh, well, I'm not interested because now I want to do something that I'm going to make more money doing.
Yeah.
Thank God to everyone who didn't think that and kept driving and now has the sport the way it is today. But in summation, women watch women's sports.
Women watch women's sports.
But also sports.
If it's your thing.
Yes, if it's your thing.
If
Sports are
your thing,
amazing. Sports bring people together. Sports is the future of peace and happiness.
Wow. Okay. You just solved world peace.
Yep.
Yeah. If we all just like walked around with our favorite sports ball in our hands.
Yeah, there it is. It's
Then you would find your tribe anywhere you went.
See?
And like the people that don't want the football, they just want to you. You know what I mean? And then we're good. You know what I mean? It's like segregation again.
You're like, wait, no, now we're back.
We're wrong way.
Healthy segregation.
Right.
Remember when they said that?
Right.
Yeah, I can say that because I am black.
Well, this has been so fun. I will say, even like as a casual sports observer, like it's so exciting for me, like watching people be passionate about it
too.
in a
The
fun
passion.
way. And so it was fun hearing you both talk about it. And thank you so much for being on. Is
Thank
there
you for having me. This
anything
was amazing.
you would oh that was just
Oh, I thought that was her taking my
um
podcast, Virginia.
right.
Sorry.
Yeah, is there anything you'd like to plug before we sign off?
I don't have a plug. I plugged
F1.
Yeah,
And you
F1.
plug
and then the Mystics.
the Mystics for sure. I do have
Yeah.
to plug the
Yeah.
Mystics. Richmond
Unrivaled.
Urban Dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked about
Absolutely.
before.
You know what? I'll throw another one in there. Richmond Cycling Corps. They do like cross country and like racing with inner city youth in Richmond here in Richmond. Yeah, so that's another like great youth organization to be excited about here locally. But yeah, if sport is your thing, give women sports. Like it's a good time to be a women's sports fan too. Like
Hell yeah.
even we're gonna say this here so that maybe Rachel can hold us accountable. We gotta go to a spirit game.
Oh, yes. I've already
You
been
know?
to
Yeah,
multiple.
that's good.
You and I gotta go.
To go with you,
You know what I
Jen.
mean?
No.
Let's go.
Yes, but I'm just saying.
No
I
way.
know
What'd you say about plugging your chug?
Citizen Heather listens often, and she is my current. Like I'm always. She's the one that gets me out to watch Washington
yeah.
Spirit games and more women's soccer sports. Part of the league. So I want to make sure she knows I'm not gonna just go off and run off into the women's sports space. We are gonna keep it up though.
Yeah.
She'll
well,
be
you
proud of me.
gotta hook yourself up with Janelle. She got those courtside seats.
Believe me,
Allegedly.
she's not gonna hear the end of that one
Allegedly.
after this.
Yeah. No,
All right.
we're here.
Well, thank you so much, citizens. And
Nice to meet you, citizens.
yeah, thank you so much for coming.
This has been so much fun.
Ta ta.
You always slide it in. That's what she
And
said.
you all
Ta-ta. Ha, 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 ha.